What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Snowstorm Studios, the Snowcast Sports Talk Podcast, episode 18. Joined here by my co-host, Josh. How are we doing today, Josh?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad to be on another episode.
Glad to have you here. It was weird. We were talking about this before we started recording. Was yesterday I had a guest, Co-Pizzle. He joined us on the Snowcast, and I said to Josh when I got back in here, I said, it was weird not having you yesterday. So, happy to have you back. I think we're kind of going hot and heavy here at a pretty low time in the Giants offseason now that the draft has ended. But we have a couple stories to talk about. So overall, Josh, just happy to have you here. And with that, let's jump into it. I think the biggest news since the last podcast was Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeaux, our number 5 and 7 pick, signed their rookie contracts and are officially New York Giants.
I can't believe it, man. What a payday it has been.
Yes.
I don't know exactly how it works for them. Like if they get paid on a specific day and they just receive a ton of money all at once, or I don't know the logistics of how it goes.
So the way it works is a signing bonus. I'm pretty sure you get paid up front. But then what happens is your 4-year contract gets split 4 years, and then the general manager, it's kind of his job to break up how that works. So I would believe that a Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal contract is pretty light starting off, and then as the years go on and the cap space opens up for the Giants as we move into these next couple years, they'll get paid more and more money. And I do want it to be noted, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Kayvon is making $31 million over the next 5 years, and Evan Neal is making $25 million, $24 million?
So I have the numbers right here.
Yeah, give them to us.
Kayvon Thibodeaux has signed a 4-year contract. $31.3 million is guaranteed, and it says there's a 5th-year club option.
Yep. All first
I don't know
year.
what that means.
Yep. So basically, it's what we declined on Daniel Jones. So what we can do is a 5th-year option is after the 4 years. If a player is playing well, instead of having to go and negotiate with them, we can say, "Hey, we're gonna tag you for 1 more year, and then we'll worry about it." And that gives GMs a little bit of flexibility in that certain year with the cap. So instead of having to negotiate and say, "Oh no, we're just gonna franchise tag you, we'll worry about it later." So basically, Daniel Jones, his 5th-year options, the Giants said, "Nope. If you don't work out, we don't want to owe you any money contractually. We want to just let you go, or we'll sign you to another deal." So
he had $31.3 million guaranteed over 4 years, and I believe the way it works is on top of that 31.3 that's guaranteed, he's got $20 million signing bonus.
Yep.
So that's a total, if you think about it all together, that's like $51.3 million.
Now, one thing I think I do need to do a little more research on is I don't know if the $20 million is included in that contract or if it's on top of.
That's something. I don't either. I'm not sure either, but I think it's on top of.
Let us know down. Yeah, I think so too, but let us know down below in the comments section.
Yeah, but could you imagine that regardless, he has a $20 million signing bonus, and as you're saying, if he gets that up front, could you imagine a $20 million payday
to a 21-year-old?
That is, I will never make $20 million my entire life.
It's pretty surreal. And the thing is, like I was telling Josh before too, when we were kind of going over our notes, was this isn't even a lot of money for an edge rusher. I believe Trayvon Walker got $40 million, and he plays the same exact position. It was just picked 5 picks earlier. So I don't know what other thoughts maybe you have on this, but for me, I'm just happy to see these guys officially be Giants. I am sure Joe Schoen had to do some cap magic to get these guys to fit into it. We still have other draft picks to sign. We still have, I think, another 8 or 9 draft picks we need to sign. So,
and I haven't mentioned Evan Neal yet.
Yeah, go for it. What was Evan Neal's?
Yeah, Evan Neal, same term, so 4 years with a 5th-year option. He has $24.6 million guaranteed over that 4 years, and he has a $15 million signing bonus. So Kayvon, $20 million, Neal, $15 in terms of signing bonus. So they are doing incredibly well. I mean, if you think about it,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Getting a $15 million signing bonus, right? Even the smaller one, the small one, Evan Neal getting $15 million. Honestly, I know this sounds crazy and nobody would ever do this, but with $15 million, that's not even that's just the signing bonus. You never have to work another day in your life. Like,
Yep.
he does. He's the pro football player, so he has to work now. But I mean, technically, after that 4 years is done, he would never do this, and nobody ever would. But after that 4 years, he can be like, "Oh, I don't want to play football anymore." You don't need to. You're done. You never have to.
Well, you see a lot of these first-round picks who fizzle out. They have all this money because they signed that rookie deal, and it's guaranteed.
You know what's crazy is I wonder if that happens to some players.
Johnny Manziel. Have you ever heard that name before, Johnny Manziel?
I've heard the name, but I don't know the story.
So he was, just very quickly, his nickname in college was Johnny Football. And when you watch his college tape, he just literally made magic happen. He would run around like a goofball for like 15 to 20 seconds and get a touchdown. Josh, when you have some time, look up Johnny Manziel college highlights. So the Browns drafted him in the first round, like 15th or 16th, something like that. And he was a complete bust because when you come to the NFL, you can't get away with improvising that much. You need to understand football. And this guy was out partying, and his natural talent didn't get him the same places it did in college. And so he's not even in the NFL anymore. He's like in some crazy side league. And the point is, he made so much money, he never has to work another day in his life as long as he hasn't burned it all.
Yeah, and it's pretty hard to burn through that much money.
You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. A couple bad investments and living in Los Angeles, and you might be out $15 million pretty quick. But
yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, I guess you could if you bought like a $15 million home. You know, it's like I feel like that's crazy.
These guys do it. These guys do it. I mean, I think most players though they have a financial advisor who takes a lot of that money and tucks it away and invests it and does things. But either way, happy to have Evan Neal and Kayvon be Giants. As a side note too, Josh, we did talk about a couple weeks ago. We talked about how bringing those two guys, bringing a 5th and 7th overall pick was going to be expensive for us because obviously first-round picks make more money. You can even see there's a $9 million gap between pick number 1 and pick number 5. There's almost a $15 million gap between pick number 5 and pick number 7. So think about like second-round picks, third-round picks, fourth-round picks. They're obviously not making close, to what Kayvon and Evan are making. So the point I'm saying is, good on Joe Schoen for not letting the cap situation deter him from picking at 5 and 7. And then, whatever cap magic he's done, I'm sure it was pretty intense, and I'm just glad to have those guys be Giants.
Me too. I'm so glad they're here.
Still crazy. Still crazy.
Yeah, it's still weird. Like Kayvon Thibodeaux, Evan Neal. We got those guys.
It's crazy. I almost want to pull up just some of the tweets of like them running. I'll show it later, but there's been like tweets of like Kayvon running out with Saquon and Evan Neal and Kayvon in like the Instagram post, and it's like, damn, like they're Giants. So
they're Giants, man.
Just awesome. It's just super awesome. But
it's awesome for all of our draft picks too. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's
Daniel Bellinger. He's a Giant. Micah McFadden. He's a Giant.
It's we got to get them signed though. I don't think they're signed. I think we saw that before.
They're not signed yet. Yeah. So those other guys, they're still not signed yet. But I'm sure that once they figure out the terms
and the layout and stuff.
They'll be signed.
So one of the things we had too over the past couple days now has been the rookie minicamp. So I was driving down to Maryland over the weekend and watching some of these interviews. And the first one, it actually wasn't a rookie interview, but Kayvon actually went to TikTok and answered some questions. And one of the interesting questions was they asked him who's he most excited to compete against. And so what they were asking him was, what offensive linemen are you looking forward to going up against? And his answer was brilliant. He's like Evan Neal. And he's looking forward to that because every practice, Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeaux are going to go against each other. They've been doing that in high school. They've done it in college, and now they're on the same team in the NFL doing it. And I just wanted to quickly, we haven't seen many people talk about this, and there's a silent brilliance to Joe Schoen drafting these two guys where he did because they play the exact opposite position of each other, and they get to basically, that term iron sharpens iron. We basically get this. I believe Kayvon will be a better Giant than he would have been having Evan Neal, and I believe Evan Neal will be a better Giant than he would have been if we didn't have Kayvon. The fact that we got those two guys, and I have to believe Joe Schoen and Brian Dable in the back of their head thought, wouldn't it be awesome to get the best edge rusher, even though he was number 3 off the board? Kayvon was the best edge rusher. I'm not going to make any bold predictions, but I'm going to. It would not shock me if Kayvon has a better career than Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker. And then Evan Neal was the second tackle taken off the board. Having the two, in my opinion, best guys going against each other all the time, it's just going to make them both better.
I know, because imagine Kayvon in his practices, he's practicing against one of the best tackles in the league. And one of the best tackles, Neal, is practicing against one of the best rushers in the league.
Exactly. And so
they're shooting each other so well, you know.
And think about when they go to games, if you're just playing someone who's just not as talented, think about now you're ready to go.
Yeah, and just some people, they might say, maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
No,
you know, I'm saying they're the best in the league already. They haven't even played a game.
They're definitely not the best in the league, but in my opinion, they are the most talented rookies coming out of the draft.
Yes.
And it's just I loved Kayvon's answer, and I had Pizzle on yesterday and we talked a little bit about Kayvon, and I think Pizzle, when you look at him on Twitter and when you look at him on YouTube, he has very different opinions. YouTube, he's out here crap talking everyone, or Twitter, he's out crap talking. YouTube, he's making some sense. But I just think Kayvon, over the past couple of days, has actually done a really good job. He's using his social media platform to foster relationships with different charities for kids who are in poverty, to give them sports activities and to give them education, improvements, and then also working with like the Wounded Warriors and training dogs for these people. I mean Kayvon is using this media presence he's given by the Giants in a very effective way. And then to go on TikTok and basically say, yeah, I'm excited to compete against my teammate because he's going to be one of the best and I'm going to be one of the best and we only get to make each other better. It's like, I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm really honestly impressed with Kayvon Thibodeaux so far, and just the way his demeanor and his personality and the things he says. Like, if I could transition to his interview, one of the interviews that he had on Giants.com, or not Giants.com,
the YouTube,
but on the YouTube channel, just the way he talks about his philosophy is just incredible. Like, I remember one of the interviewer people, they asked a question to him, the media. They asked a question. They said, are you going to be a leader on this team? And what he said was, I'm going to lead myself. I'm not saying I'm going to be a vocal leader, but I'm going to lead myself. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right path and doing the right thing. And if I'm leading myself in the right way, others will follow.
And you know what the thing is, Josh? That's such a great answer, and people still twisted it. I saw people saying that was him saying he doesn't want to lead the Giants, and that is absolutely not the case. I believe in the bottom of my heart Kayvon wants to be a leader of this team, but he knows his place. He is a rookie who has not played a snap in the NFL yet. No rookie's going to go out there and say, I'm going to be the leader of this team. Now when you have Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, even someone like Azeez or Xavier McKinney, who are guys who have proven to be talented NFL players, he's not going to come out here and step on their toes. But what he said, and Josh, it's absolutely right, he said, I'm going to lead myself and I'm going to lead by example, and people will follow that. And that's all he needs to do as a rookie. All I want Kayvon to do are two things: keep his head on straight and stay healthy. Even if Kayvon has 0 sacks, if he keeps his head on straight and stays healthy, that's better than anything else. So,
I really honestly could not have said it any better. You put it perfectly. I mean, he said exactly what he should be saying as a rookie. He can't just come in there and be like,
I'm going to lead this team. This is my team.
He had the perfect response for what a rookie should be aiming to do, even if they are a hyped rookie, one of the best in the.
He's definitely one of the most hyped rookies I've seen on the Giants in a long time. I have not seen a Giant this hyped in a long time.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what nickname they're going to give him. Thinking back on Kopizzle and him being upset with the Danny Dimes nickname.
Yeah,
I'm wondering what nickname they'll give him.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting who will give it to him. I personally, I'm just like with Kayvon, just keep his head on straight, man. The media's gonna build you up, and people, including Pizzle and other people, it's not just Pizzle. A lot of people have this opinion, from what I've heard, that don't let the media beat you up when things aren't going your way. Hell, and I brought this up yesterday. Brian Dable literally asked him that. He said, what happens when it's week 5 and you have no sacks?
Yeah. And his response was perfect. He said, if it's week 5 and I ain't got no sacks, then
We're
I'm
going to
going to
put our
see how
head down and we're going to figure out how to get 3 sacks
Yeah.
the next game. And that's exactly, just look forward, lead by example. So, yeah, Kayvon did a great interview. And, yeah, good transition. One of the other interviews I want to talk about, let's talk about Micah Mcfadden first. So, Josh, if you want to go over the Micah Mcfadden interview a little bit.
Absolutely. I know there's a lot of different people that have had their interviews, and I've watched all of these different rookie players.
And just as a note, we're focusing on 2 of them. So for this podcast, guys, me and Josh really went into detail on 2, but keep going.
Yeah, and I mean, I've watched all of them, though.
Yep.
Or almost all of them. But he stood out to me because he's just so honest. Like, you know how generally a lot of times in interviews, players will just be kind of like, yep.
Even keel.
I can't wait to go out there and play, and I'm going to practice hard, and just can't wait to play for the
Josh,
Giants.
they could literally ask you, like, how do you feel? They could ask you, how do you feel about, like, your wife leaving you and, like, your kids not living with you anymore? Just can't wait to get on the field. Can't wait to compete. I'm a good teammate.
Exactly. But Micah Mcfadden was none of that. He was none of that. He was completely honest. He answered honestly, and also
almost
like
a little bit in his own way.
In his own way, and he didn't like try to do this like juking sort of, I'm not going to answer your question. He wasn't generic at all. Like every answer he gave was heartfelt. It wasn't like a generic. He never gave any generic answers. And he was honest about how, because one of the interviewers had said, "Hey, did you stop playing football or whatever?" And Micah said, "No, actually, I've been playing football
for like
every
10 years. Yeah.
Since I was 6 years old. I just wasn't that good."
And then they ask him, "Are you good now?" And he goes, "I'm working."
know.
And he goes, "I'm working on it."
Actually, his first response, because he was about to say something, he stopped himself, and then he said, "Yeah, I think I'm pretty good now." It looked like what he was first about to say was, "Yeah, I think I'm pretty good," but I think he caught himself and was like, "I might come off as sounding cocky."
Yep.
Or arrogant.
And the media loves pulling that out of players. They love pulling it out of them. So.
Yeah, so he stopped and then changed his answers, saying something more modest, like, "Yeah, I think I'm getting there," or something like that.
Yeah, it was goofy for sure. But
I like him. I'm just saying,
I do too.
Really
I do too. I think we got 2 linebackers. We got him and Beavers from the 7th round. So we got 2 linebackers that hopefully Blake Martinez, our current number 1 linebacker, who's a little bit older, can hopefully show some of these guys some things. These are 2 lower round draft picks, but I think that transitions Josh really nicely into the next one I wanted to talk about, which was Daniel Bellinger. And the reason I really want to talk about Daniel Bellinger is when you listen to some of these draft picks, obviously Kayvon and Evan Neal are really, really, really important draft picks. Like, we really need these guys to come out there and be day 1 starters, especially in Evan Neal. But I would argue the next most important player that really needs to be a day 1 contributor is Daniel Bellinger. He is a tight end, guys. We drafted him, I believe. I don't remember exactly where we drafted him, but we went over that in another podcast. But Daniel Bellinger, I believe he was a 3rd or 4th round pick by the Giants this year. And tight end, guys, is one of the most depleted positions for the Giants. So last year we had Evan Ingram, we had Caden Smith, we had Kyle Rudolph, and then we also had Toilolo. All of them are gone. We have lost all of our tight ends. Evan Neal was traded. Rudolph was released. Caden Smith couldn't pass a physical, and I believe Toilolo was released as well. So these new draft picks for the tight end are really important. Me and Josh were looking at PFF and looking at the Giants roster. There's a lot of tight ends on there, but those are guys we picked up in free agency that could pan out, but they've also been in the league for a bit, and we kind of know their ceiling. With Daniel Bellinger, the thing that's important is just the position he's filling, and he really needs to get that connection with Daniel Jones. There was actually a report that came out at the rookie minicamp that he actually had the big one-handed catch on the 7-on-7 drill to get a touchdown. And so, I wanted to know if Daniel Jones was the one who threw it to him, but I couldn't figure it out. They didn't say the players in the 7-on-7. It could have been the backups. As Josh noted, he's very low in the lineup when you look at the Giants roster. but this guy really needs to be a day one starter. In college, he had 33 catches or 34 catches, not one single drop last year. Like, this guy has very good hands, and he's just built right. And his interview, he came off, very, he was doing the media game much better. He was answering the questions well. I think this is a guy that really needs to pan out for us.
Yeah, and I couldn't be rooting for him anymore. Like, I really want him to, show what he's got, and it's something I'm looking forward to him, and I'm hoping that they can give him some playtime. And it would be nice if that was Jones that threw that touchdown.
I would hope so, because we need to build that chemistry between them. Because
Yeah.
if he's going to be a day one starter, tight end is just becoming a position now in the NFL that's extremely, extremely important. And Bellinger's built like a tight end I think the New York Giants are looking for. Not a pass first, catch first tight end, but a run blocking tight end who can catch the ball and find some space. Give Saquon, a burst and get a hole open for him. That's what we need right there. So.
Yeah, and I wonder how Saquon's feeling.
He's looking good. You should see him. There's some clips of him coming out, and he's looking good. Saquon.
Yeah, I did see that interview that they had with him.
Yeah, and Saquon too. He there was some clips, and he looks like he's got some of his burst back. What happened in 2020 was he tore his ACL, and then last year it just felt like he kept fighting back from injury, just trying to get to 100%. And then, as you saw, Josh, in the Cowboys game, once he started playing, he rolls his ankle. And then for the rest of the year, he was just injured. So, we've done, I think a lot of people will say, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, a lot of people say we've done so much to help Daniel Jones. We've also done a lot to help Saquon, man. We got him a blocking tight end, a studded right tackle. We revamped the offensive line in a bunch of different ways, free agency and in the draft. Like, Saquon needs to produce this year.
Yeah, and then Andrew Thomas is still his same good old self.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, I would think as long as he can stay healthy, and he was saying that he was very healthy in his interview. He was saying that he's back to being healthy and he's looking forward to getting back on the field and playing again. I'm hoping that he can take advantage of this offensive line. We got a bunch of new big guys. So
also some of the run schemes too, with having Brian Dable and Mike Kafka, our offensive coordinator, it's not always just running the ball up the middle. I don't know if you've noticed, Josh, in rewatching some of the games, but every Saquon run, he's just trying to run up the gut. Saquon is not.
Too, yeah.
He's not a power back, man. Saquon can catch the ball, put him out as a receiver, do a couple screens and throw it to him. It's like Saquon is not a guy that's going to run the ball 15, 20 times a game. That's just not Saquon. That doesn't mean he can't be a game changer.
But, I'm hoping that Daboll sees that and says, hey, this didn't work out last year. How can I utilize his strengths? Which he's been doing with all of the players.
And so, another report that came out was Saquon caught a touchdown pass in the end zone, 2 of them during this mini camp over the past couple days. And that's awesome to see, because that means they're utilizing Saquon in more than just running up the gut all the time, which Saquon does have the ability to do, but he's not an Ezekiel Elliott. He's not a Dalvin Cook. He's just not he's not built that way. So it is what it is. It's these rookies coming in, it's just really exciting, and there's a lot of pressure on them. We've talked about here a lot on the Snowcast that this draft is really, really important for us. We really need this draft to work out.
Yeah, and I saw those plays you're talking about from last year where he would run up the gut and it would just go nowhere every time.
Every time. And they do it on 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and the only time where he really there was only a few times where he had some good runs, where he was either, able to squeeze out through the middle or, but only very rare did that happen. And then when he got pass plays, it was like, wow.
They call Saquon a home run running back, which basically means he's going to go 10 times where he gets 1 or no yards. And then on the 11th run, he's going to get 100 yards and go all the way and take it to the house. So his average yards per run looks really good, but he's not going to get you 6 or 7 yards. He needs to get better at that. Saquon needs to get better at just running up the gut. I don't know if you see him, Josh, but he kind of tries to juke a million times and it just fails miserably. So
yeah, he's just got to blast through there. No lateral side and side, just vertical.
Take what you can get.
Yeah.
Don't try to hit the home run. But we're rooting for him. We're absolutely rooting for him. Today's going to be a shorter podcast as we're already on our last topic. Unless, Josh, am I good to go to the next topic?
You go ahead.
So the last topic, guys, we you know, a couple weeks ago we had Justin Pennick from Talkin Giants. I hope to have Bobby Skinner on here as well. They honestly are one of the reasons I got into doing this. If I'm being honest, them and The Entertainer are like the two YouTube content creator, podcaster, community creators that really inspired me to create the Snowcast and really wanted to bring Josh on here. And so yesterday, I think a really cool thing happened. I think, starting off this podcast, I don't know if people remember, but I would ask the content creators, who do you watch in the mainstream media? And I really think that wall is starting to be teared down a little bit. As yesterday, Talkin Giants, Justin Pennick, and Bobby Skinner, they had Andrew Thomas on their podcast. They literally pulled up to MetLife in some van. They got Andrew Thomas in there, and they had an interview with him. It was just, just really, really, really cool. And so, the first thing I wanted to do is just congratulate them and talk about, they're really being pioneers for this YouTube community space where we're in this podcasting space where it's kind of tearing down walls, and the players don't always have to go talk to Fox and talk to ABC and, all those mainstream media. They can go and talk to Talkin Giants, and it's just awesome.
It is awesome, and I saw the episode that Talkin Giants came out with where they said at the beginning that this is the first time they had interviewed a player.
And in person, too. And in person,
Yeah, in person. So I was like, wow, this is possible.
And think about the logistics.
Could you imagine having Kayvon Thibodeaux on our podcast?
Dude, you know who I want to reach out to? The tight end who's from UMaine.
Oh.
That one might be doable.
That would be doable, and we could ask him, what is it like? What is the mini camp like? What is the training camp like?
Yeah. So maybe something in the future for us to do together. But I just, first I wanted to congratulate them and just say, it was a really good job, and they did a really good job kind of tearing down the walls, having fun, asking some good questions, asking Andrew about kind of his struggles and then how he came over it, and what was that aha moment for him, and then talking about his bling and how he's a super fancy dresser and all this stuff. So just kudos to them. But the other thing I kind of want to talk about was Andrew did make an interesting comment about Dable, and not in a bad way, but they said, what's it like with Dable in there? And he said verbatim, Dable is ADD about us knowing the playbook, which is a super interesting comment.
Yeah, he was saying that he'll quiz them about the playbook all the time. Like, he'll just ask them questions like, he'll just ask questions about the playbook.
Like what do you do on this play in this situation or something like that. And it's just, that's a really cool thing. I think Dable has looked back at the Giants and has seen some of the us beating ourselves situation. And I think he's really trying to get in front of that. And you have to create a situation where players need to be able to think on the fly. So...
And what's crazy to me is it seems like a pretty hard job. It's like, how do you just hear the words blue 38 vertical
go
hook, and then you're like, oh yeah, I need to do this? It's like, you have to have a good memory. There's so many plays.
Yeah, football players, there's no such thing as a stupid football player. They all are very smart guys, and it is a lot of thinking in the moment and understanding, audibling. Like, we see Daniel Jones, he'll go kill. He's literally saying, kill the play, we're going to do this instead. And then every single player, the offensive line, the wide receiver, the tight end, the running back, the quarterback, all need to know what that play is.
Yeah, and that's just because, I actually did play football briefly in high school, and it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard to memorize all the plays, and now thinking back, like, how did I do that?
Yeah, and it's tough for these guys too because it's a whole new offensive system coming in. So with Jason Garrett and then with Freddie Kitchens under Joe Judge, they had their own cadences, their own phrases and what they would say, and now with Brian Dable, it's a whole different one. So,
did you ever play football?
I played flag football. So I played flag football in college.
Wow, that must have been before we were friends. I don't remember that.
Yeah, so freshman, sophomore, and junior year I played. Then senior year I didn't play.
Okay, so I'm just, if you don't mind, I'm curious what position you played, and then you guess what position I played.
Okay. Do you want to guess me first? Or do you want me to guess you first?
I'm gonna guess that you played 1 second.
It's all right.
Tight end?
Close. No, wasn't big enough. I played slot receiver, so that's basically like the smallest wide receiver. So I would sit. I was never out wide. I was always like Kadarius Toney or maybe what Wan'Dale Robinson will be. Sort of like that smaller guy who's kind of quick but can't really throw it up over. So yeah, slot receiver, and then on defense I played safety a lot. So.
Perfect.
I'm going to guess with you, I'm going to guess tight end.
Yes, I did play tight end.
You're a little bit bigger. Like you can't tell on camera, but you've always been a little bit like more built.
Well, I've let it go in the past couple years, but yeah, I've used to work out quite a bit, and there was a time when I was very
pretty bulky. Pretty bulky.
Yeah. There was a
Yeah.
time when I was very bulky. And so I did blocking and also catching. The thing is I actually played both sides of the ball. I played free safety.
Yeah. So yeah, we did the same thing because you can never get enough guys to have like individual positions. So I played running back sometimes, slot receiver, and then on defense I'd play safety, or I would actually rush the quarterback sometimes, which was absolutely not my skill.
And you know what? I think I figured I learned a new football fact. And that's the difference between strong and free safety.
Here we
It's
go.
really okay. So okay, hold up. I think this is true. So strong safety means you're on the quarterback's strong side, meaning the quarterback's strong side. So that means that they're right-handed, then the quarterback's right side, where they can easily see the field, would be the quarterback's strong side. So that'd be the strong side of the field.
Okay.
And so that would be the strong safety. Then the other safety is the weak safety.
Or free safety.
Well, hold up. So it's the weak safety, but nobody wants to call a football player weak, so they call it free safety. But technically, it's the weak safety because it's the weak side of the field, the quarterback's weak spot. See what I'm saying?
I see it.
So like the quarterback's back is turned to that side of the field. So the weak side. So technically it's the weak safety, but nobody wants to be called weak, so it's the free safety.
So you want
they changed it.
You want
That's
the actual?
what I.
You're close.
So that's what I think it is. All right, you go ahead.
I'm just reading the Google. I googled it. You're close though. It says the strong side is the side of the line that the tight end lines up on. So I think that's the difference because there's another receiver over there, because it'd be like the wide receiver and then also the tight end. The other side of the field is called the weak side. The free safety is generally smaller than the strong safety and slightly faster. Yeah, so basically a tight end's a little bit bigger, obviously, than slower, so you want your free safety or your strong safety over there. Free safeties also generally inherit more pass coverage than strong safeties. Yeah, that was very close.
I thought it was in relation to the quarterback, but it's actually in relation to the tight end.
And also what they can do. So a free safety is going to be faster. So an Xavier McKinney is going to be a free safety. Peppers was a strong safety. He's a little bit bigger. He could block tight ends. We don't really have a strong safety. I'm hoping, what's his name? We drafted a safety. Maybe he can fill in there. I need to go look now.
I got you covered. Dane Belton.
Dane Belton needs to be that strong safety. We need Dane Belton to be good at blocking tight ends.
Yeah, if he could fill that hole, I'd be really happy with that.
But also, too, usually the tight end... I don't know how the tight end lines up usually. We'll have more football facts in the future.
No, but, hey, we went on a huge tangent there, but I really did enjoy Andrew Thomas's interview.
It was cool.
And it was really cool, him talking about Dable and what they're like, and
his relationships with his Z's, and it was funny, his relationships with some of the O-linemen that aren't there anymore, or I don't think will be there much longer. A Matt Parrott and a Shane Lemieux have both, there's replacements for them there. So.
And you know something that he brought up, that all of the players that I've been saying, and that they've been saying, they all have been bringing this up, and he did too. He said Dable. His first thing when they asked about Dable was, "I really love his energy. He brings the same energy every day." And then he made the comment about ADD. But first thing he said was he loves their energy, the energy of Dable and Shane. So
Did you see? Did you see the video of Shane? He was out throwing passes to the rookies.
I did. I saw that, and everybody was saying on Twitter like, "Oh man, this is the kind of GM we need. The kind of GM that gets out on the field and throws passes to the players. Like that's a GM."
Yeah, it's
Right.
definitely cool. Last year or a couple years ago, Joe Judge did something similar, and all the Giants fans kind of ate it up. So we need to hold back our expectations, but I am definitely a Joe Shane fan, and I think it's just icing on the cake of a guy who already had a draft that I really like to go out there and then be throwing passes to these guys. It was cool. So and to roundabout on the Thomas interview, yes. Everyone really likes Brian Dable's energy, and you could see from the second Brian Dable did his intro conference, that is just who Brian Dable is, and I'm 150% here for it. Like, I love it. So
I can't wait to see that butterball in the sidelines.
me too. He's also losing some weight, so good for him. I don't know if you've noticed, he's been losing some weight, so he's putting in the work too.
I saw that because in the most recent video,
He looks good.
It's like his face looks slimmer than the previous video.
He looks good.
It's probably because he's out there with these training days every day, and he's out there just like they are. I mean, he's not doing all the drills, but he's walking around. He's up on his feet like the whole day. So I'm sure that's part of it, and that's great.
I love it. Well, on that note, I just want to say one more time to Talkin Giants guys over there. Really, really great job. Like, you guys really did a good job. It was cool to see that barrier get broken down. And as a podcaster myself, and I'm sure Josh feels the same here, it's just cool to see that wall get broken down because that creates more possibilities for the rest of us. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what they're doing, and I'm really so excited to see that a prominent player on the Giants. So it's possible. It just lets us know it's possible.
Arguably the best player on the Giants. You could argue it.
Yeah, one of the best. I think I'm overhyped with the whole. I think that I have a problem, and
Kayvon.
my problem is that I think I'm overhyping Kayvon Thibodeaux, and I'm like, oh, he's the best player on the whole team. It's like, wait a minute, he needs to
play
out.
a snap.
I need to see him play a
you're
snap.
new to the Giants too, so every player you need to see him play a snap. So we'll cut a pass, but yeah, just really cool. So, but on that note, guys, we're gonna close this one off. We'll be back again on Thursday. We'll go through more of the interviews. I'm sure there'll be more interviews then as well for us to go over. And if you have any questions or things you want to talk about down below, let us know in the comment section. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a rating, hopefully a good one. And we will see you all on the next one. Go Giants!
Go Giants.